Welcome. We're so happy to have you here at Fun Classic Reads. And as you know, you may have already been here before. Every month we perform live reads from classic and modern books to bring you a combination of lighthearted laughs and literature. I'm Christie Stratos, historical suspense and historical fantasy author, and my co-host is sci-fi author David M. Kelly. So in today's episode, which is only episode 2 of our show, Dave and I are bringing you a classic movie you may not realize was also a play. It's His Girl Friday with Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell. So here to help us make this performance come alive are historical fiction author Leah Lindeman and multi-genre author and speaker Mark Leslie. Welcome.
Hey, guys.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you here, and they're really going to be doing a lot of work tonight because they're each playing a number of roles. So this is really going to be quite a fun episode, very entertaining. I think we're just going to have the best time. So why don't we just start off with asking you each to introduce yourselves, just tell us a little bit about you. So let's start with Leah. Just tell us a little bit about you and your work.
So I'm Leah Lindeman. I'm the author of the Canadian Reminiscence series, and it's a Canadian historical fiction series that is set in the different provinces of Canada during a different historical time period. I have 7 kids. I'm married. I live in Eastern Ontario, and half of my heart resides in Scotland because it stole my heart.
It's still a lot of hearts.
Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. And how about you, Mark?
Well, keeping on the Canadian theme, my longest running series, book 7 coming out very soon, is the Canadian Werewolf series. That started with a Canadian Werewolf in New York. It's urban fantasy, humorous, just to look at what might happen if a beta man becomes an alpha wolf and has to deal with the side effects of all of these extra powers he has. And I live in southwestern Ontario, or I guess southern Ontario, because it's not really that far west. But well. And I have a son and 3 wonderful stepdaughters as well. And I'm getting married this summer. I'm so excited.
Wow.
Yeah, very good.
Congratulations.
So, yay, 10th anniversary of my first date with Liz. So thought we would be special. And we're doing it in New York.
Oh,
Wow.
exciting.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Oh, yay. With something to celebrate then. Very nice. Okay, so what we usually do is we will ask each of you what you're working on, what you've been up to, or what is your next publication coming out, any events you might be, doing this year, anything like that you want to share with our audience. So Leah, are you working on your next book? You just had a book release, actually.
Yes, yeah. So this is it, Unborn Melody. It's okay. There we go. It's set during the Northwest Territories during World War II, and it follows a female typist who goes to work for the American Army as they construct a secret oil pipeline in the north. So that's that story. And yes, I'm about to start writing the sequel to that book, which hopefully will be out in a year's time. But I'm just trying to settle on a title because I have a hard time writing anything unless I have a title. So I'm so close. Like, it's there. Yeah, and I have a lot of events. I'm doing a book tour in my area and then heading to Ottawa,
nice.
and planning to go to Montreal. So this year is just basically full of events and meeting readers. I love to connect with readers on the book tour trail.
That is wonderful. How great. And how exciting you're already. So do you actually have, just while we're on the topic, do you have any suggestions for other authors as to how to come up with their title for those especially who cannot write until they come up with a title?
Yeah. I like to kind of focus in on unique aspects of the story. So for this title, Melody is it's a character that kind of comes toward the end of the book, but is a big player in the main story of the book. So that's kind of where I came up with that.
Nice.
And then I have others, that I just kind of pick from the theme or very specific facets of the story.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. That's great.
Yeah.
How about you, Mark? I know you're a super busy guy.
Speaking of titles, the book I'm working on right now finishing the work on that's coming out in April is called Only Monsters in the Building. And I usually pick the title first and then figure out what I'm going to write. And so this is the next book in the series. It follows Hex and the City, which I co-authored with my good friend Julie Strauss. And at the end of this novel, Michael Andrews' love has to leave because of a weird curse that prevents them from being together. So he's kind of verklempt, but he also hasn't been dealing with the fact that he's been a werewolf. And so he ends up going to therapy at a retreat in upstate New York with sick monsters who aren't proper monsters the way he's not a proper monster. So, a fairy who can't deceive people or lie. I've got a troll who's an extrovert and invites everyone to come and hang out under the bridge and have a party rather than scare them away or try to eat them. So it's just a mishmash, and I wanted to do it as a closed room murder mystery where the therapist is murdered and all the suspects are the paranormals that this person's been treating. So it's kind of, I have so much fun with titles, and even every chapter in the book has a weird, bizarre, goofy title because I just have so many of these I want to share, and obviously I can't write that many books that fast.
You can try, right? Amber says, yeah, it's funny. I can write a whole story, but coming up with a title stops me cold. Oh, yeah, that can be, it really can stop you cold. It can be so difficult.
I'm kind of the other way. I usually wait until right at the end before I come up with a title.
I do too.
It's kind of like book 1, book 2.
I do that a lot.
Really unimaginative.
It's like, it's so rare that I have the name in advance because I'm a pantser, David's a pantser. We don't know what's going to happen. So we both.
Yeah.
The funny thing is I'm also a pantser.
Oh, and
yeah, so, like I'll kind of, I know my beginning and I know my end and, some things in the middle, but most of it I don't know. But I just feel like I need that title to, I don't know, as a guiding light.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
I'm a pantser too, so we got 4 pantsers here.
Yeah.
But so I have the title, and that's pretty much all I know. Okay, cool. Let's write something.
Nice. Yours are always really fun titles too. I really enjoy your titles, Mark. Hey, Richard.
Comment from Richard. Greetings, all looking good. And then he also says, "Eat pantsers unite."
He's a pantser too.
Richard's a
There's
pantser
5
too.
pantsers in the room.
No pants in this stream.
Shirts only. Okay. Well, does anybody have anything else to share, or else we'll get right on with our production? Ooh, Amber is also a pantser. Pantser here too.
Actually,
we have 6 pantsers happening at this moment.
I just remembered something. I will make this very, very special announcement. I've only announced it to my newsletter subscribers so far, but the audiobook for my first book, Redeemed from the Ashes, is releasing mid-April.
Nice.
And I've been sitting on this project for 5 years because the editing was just this big monster in my head that I didn't feel like I could overcome. But after writing this, I was on a high and I was like, yep, this is happening. So that's coming out.
That's fantastic. Congratulations in advance. That's great. Big news.
Yeah.
Richard also says congratulations.
Thank you.
Fabulous. So as we mentioned, we were going to be doing His Girl Friday, originally known as The Front Page. And His Girl Friday came out in 1940, which a lot of you may know with Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell. Here's a phone to represent 1940. And the original screenplay, the original play, The Front Page came out in 1920, so 1928. And so we see a lot of candlestick phones happening in 1940 that might not always be there, but, in the 1940 movie, but we do see them. So you can just imagine a candlestick phone at some times in his production, because not everybody's going to be an old phone collector like I am. So with that being said, we can get started anytime, everyone.
Okay.
All right. Dave is going to be our narrator.
I'm the narrator as well as being, of course, Cary Grant. Who else?
Of course. You look like Cary Grant. Who else could you play?
At the back wall, directly behind the switchboard, are chairs and a table for visitors. Next to the switchboard are stairs leading downward to the next floor. A waist-high iron grille with a gate on it separates the switchboard from the anteroom, a similar grille separating it again from the city room. which stretches on beyond the switchboard. At a table in the switchboard enclosure sits an office boy about 15 doing a crossword puzzle. The big clock on the back wall shows that it is nearly 1 o'clock. The near elevator comes up and discharges Hildy Johnson and Bruce Baldwin. Bruce carries an umbrella and wears a raincoat. Hildy approaches the switchboard.
This is the Morning Post. The city room? Yeah, just a moment. I'll connect you. City Post? Oh, yes. Yeah, the Sports Center. Just a moment.
Hello, Maisie.
Hello, Hildy. Are you coming back?
No, just visiting. Tell me, is the Lord of the Universe in today?
He is, and he's in a very foul mood. It's as if someone stole one of his crown jewels. Shall I announce you?
No, never mind. I'll blow my own trumpet. I won't be more than 10 minutes, I promise you.
Even 10 minutes is a long time to be away from you.
What did you say?
I said even 10 minutes is a long time to be away from you.
Don't be embarrassed, Bruce. I heard you. I just wanted to hear it again. I can stand being spoiled a little. The gentleman I'm going to have a chat with did very little spoiling.
I'd like to spoil him just once. Sure you don't want me to go on with you?
My job, Bruce. I started it and I'll finish it.
I suppose you're right. But if it gets rough, remember, I'm here.
I'll come running, partner.
She starts to push open the iron grill gate leading into the city room. Bruce quickly springs forward and opens it for her. Hildy smiles.
Thanks, Bruce.
She kisses his cheek and walks through. He looks after her. The office boy whistles. Bruce pays no attention but stares after Hildy. Hildy starts to walk through the city room. It's a room that takes up practically the entire floor. Gradually, as Hildy starts walking, one after another recognizes her and shouts greetings to her, and she happily returns them. She never stops but waves her greetings. Hildy stops by a middle-aged woman's desk, almost an Edna May Oliver type, as she pounds out coffee and smokes a cigarette. As Hildy comes up to her, she slaps the woman on the back.
Hello, Beatrice. How's advice to the lovelorn?
Hildy, I'll be a monkey's uncle. What are you doing here?
Point of information. What does a girl say on meeting her divorced husband?
My advice is to duck and cross with your right.
Hildy moves on. She pauses before the frosted glass partition, which separates Walter Burns' office from the rest of the city room. She opens the door to find Burns shaving with an electric razor, and Louis is holding the mirror up in front of him.
A little more around the chin, boss.
There's a sound of the door closing, and Burns, without looking up, says, "What do you want?"
Well, I'm surprised, Mr. Burns. That's no way to talk to your wife, even if she's no longer your wife.
"Hello, Hildy."
Hello, Walter. Hi, Louis. How's the slot machine king?
No, I ain't doing that anymore. I'm retired. I'm one of you fellas now, a newspaper man.
Editorials?
"Get going, Louis. I got company." The door flies open and Duffy comes bursting in. You muted, Leah.
Walter.
"I'm busy, Duffy."
Well, you're not too busy to know that the governor hasn't signed that reprieve.
"What?"
And that means Earl Williams dies tomorrow morning and makes a sucker out of us.
"You're crazy. Where's Mac?"
He's on the phone. He just called me.
"They can't do that to me." "Give me that call on Duffy's wire. Hello? Mac? Burns. Where's the governor? What do you mean you can't locate him?" "Mac, you know what this means. We're the only paper in town defending Earl Williams, and he hangs tomorrow. If he hangs tomorrow, we're washed up. Find the governor, and when you find him, tell him we want that reprieve. Tell him I elected him and I can have him impeached. Sure you can do it, Mac. I know you can. I always said you were the greatest reporter in the country, and now you can prove it. Get going. Atta boy." Greatest reporter in the country. First I got to tell him what news to get, got to tell him how to get it, and I got to write it for him afterwards. Now, if you were a decent city editor...
Don't blame me. I'm city editor in name only. You do all the hiring around here.
Yeah, well, I do the firing too. Remember that, Duffy, and keep a civil tongue in your head.
I don't like to interfere with business, but would you boys pardon us while we have a little heart-to-heart talk?
I gotta.
But I got it.
Scram, you guys. They leave.
You won't miss anything. You'll probably be able to hear him just as well outside as here. Mind if I sit down? May I have a cigarette, please?
Burns reaches into his pocket, extracts a cigarette, and tosses it onto the desk. Hildy reaches for it.
Thanks. Match?
Burns delves into pockets again, comes up with a matchbox, and tosses it to Hildy, who catches it deftly and strikes a match.
How long is it? Oh, sorry.
How long is it?
How long is what?
You know what? How long is it since we've seen each other?
Let's see. I was in Reno 6 weeks, then Bermuda. Oh, about 4 months, I guess. Seems like yesterday to me.
Maybe it was yesterday. Been seeing me in your dreams?
No, Mama doesn't dream about you anymore, Walter. You wouldn't know the old girl now.
Oh, yes, I would. I'd know you anytime,
Any place, anywhere.
anywhere.
You're repeating yourself. That's the speech you made the night you proposed. Anytime, any place, anywhere.
I notice you still remember it.
I'll always remember it. If I hadn't remembered it, I wouldn't have divorced you.
You know, Hildy, I sort of wish you hadn't done that.
Done what?
Divorced me. It makes it feel like he's not wanted.
Oh, now look, Junior, that's what divorces are for.
Nonsense. You've got the old-fashioned idea that divorces are something that lasts forever, till death do us part. Why, a divorce doesn't mean anything today. It's only a few words mumbled over you by a judge. We've got something between us nothing can change.
I suppose that's true in a way. I am fond of you, Walter. I often wish you weren't such a stinker.
Now, that's a nice thing to say.
Well, why did you promise me you wouldn't fight the divorce and then try and gum up the whole works?
Well, I meant to let you go, but, you know, you never missed the water till the well runs dry.
A fellow your age hiring an airplane to write, "Haste, Hildy, don't be hasty. Remember my dimple, Walter." It held things up 20 minutes while the judge ran out to watch it.
Well, I don't want to brag, but I still got the dimple, and in the same place. I just acted like any husband who doesn't want to see his home broken up.
What home?
What home? Don't you remember the home I promised you?
Oh, yes. We were to have it right after our honeymoon. Honeymoon!
Was it my fault? Did I know that coal mine was going to have another cave-in? I meant to be with you on a honeymoon, Hildy. Honest, I did.
All I know is that instead of 2 weeks in Atlantic City with my bridegroom, I spent 2 weeks in a coal mine with John Krupsky, age 63, getting food and air out of a tube. You don't deny that, do you?
Deny it? I'm proud of it. We beat the whole country on that story.
Well, suppose we did. That isn't what I got married for. What's the good of... Look, Walter, I came up here to tell you that you'll have to stop phoning me a dozen times a day, sending 20 telegrams and all the rest of it, because I'm...
Let's not fight, Hildy. Tell you what, you come back to work on the paper, and if we find we can't get along in a friendly way, we'll get married again.
What?
I haven't any hard feelings.
Walter, you are wonderful in a loathsome sort of way. Now, would you mind keeping quiet long enough for me to tell you what I came up here for?
Sure, come on. We'll have some lunch, and you can tell me everything.
I have a lunch date. I just want...
You can break it, can't you?
No, I can't.
Sure you can. Come on.
Don't tell me what to do. We're divorced. I'm a free woman. You're not my husband, and you're not my boss. And what's more, you're not going to be my boss.
What do you mean by that?
Just what I said. That's what I...
You mean you're not coming back to work at the Post?
That's the first time you've been right today. That's what I...
You've had a better offer, huh?
You bet I've got a better offer.
Well, go on, take it. Work for someone else. That's the gratitude I get for
I know, Walter, but
What were you when you came here 5 years ago? A little college girl from a school of journalism. I took a doll-faced hick.
you wouldn't have taken me if I hadn't been doll-faced.
Why should I? I thought it would be a novelty to have a face around here a man could look at without shuddering.
Listen, Walter.
I made a great reporter out of you, Hildy, but you won't be half as good on any other paper, and you know it. You need me, and I need you, and the paper needs both of us.
Well, the paper will have to learn to do without me, and so will you. It just didn't work out, Walter.
It would have worked if you'd been satisfied with just being editor and reporter, but no, you had to marry me and spoil everything.
Satisfied? I suppose I proposed to you.
Well, you practically did, making Google eyes at me for 2 years till I broke down. And I still claim I was tight the night you proposed. If you'd have been a gentleman, you'd have forgotten all about it. But not you.
You.
You're losing your eye. You used to be able to pitch better than that. Hello? Yeah? What? Sweeney? Well, what can I do for you? Duffy is seated at his desk, talking into the phone.
What's the matter with you? Are you drunk? This is Duffy, not Sweeney.
Sweeney? You can't do that to me. Not today of all days. Jumping Jehoshaphat. And, oh no, Sweeney. Well, I suppose so. All right, if you have to, you have to. How do you like that? Everything happens to me. With 365 days in the year, this has to be the day.
What's the matter?
Sweeney.
Dead?
Not yet. Might just as well be. The only man on the paper who can write, and his wife fixed this morning to have a baby.
Sweeney? Well, after all, he didn't do it on purpose, did he?
I don't care whether he did or not. He's supposed to be covering the Earl Williams case, and there he is, waiting at the hospital. Is there no sense of honor left in this country?
Well, haven't you got anybody else?
There's nobody else on the paper who can write. This will break me, unless... Hildy.
No.
You've got to help me, Hildy.
Keep away.
It'll bring us together again, Hildy, just the way we used to be.
That's what I'm afraid of. Anytime, any place, anywhere.
Don't mock, Hildy. This is bigger than anything that's happened to us. Don't do it for me. Do it for the paper.
Scram, Svengali.
If you won't do it for love, how about money? Forget the other offer and I'll raise you $25 a week.
Listen, you bumble-headed baboon.
All right, 35 and not a cent more.
Please, will you just...
Good grief, how much is this other paper giving you?
There is no other paper.
Oh, in that case, the raise is off and you go back to your old salary and like it. Trying to blackjack.
Look at this. Do you see this? Do you know what engagement ring is? I tried to tell you right away, but you started reminiscing. I'm getting married, Walter, and also getting as far away from the newspaper business as I can get. I'm through.
Get married all you want, Hildy, but you can't quit the newspaper business.
You can't sell me that, Walter.
Who says I can't? You're a newspaper man.
That's why I'm quitting. I want to go someplace where I can be a woman.
I know you, Hildy, and I know what it would mean. It would kill you.
A journalist, peeking through keyholes, running after fire engines, waking people up in the middle of the night to ask them if they think Hitler's going to start a war, stealing pictures off old ladies of their daughters that got chased by 8 men. I know all about reporters, a lot of daffy Budinskis going around with a nickel in their pockets. And for what? So 1 million hired girls and motormen's wives will know what's going on. No, Walter, I'm through.
Where'd you meet this man?
Bermuda.
Bermuda. Rich, eh?
Not what you'd call rich. Makes about $5,000 a year.
What's his line?
He's in the insurance business.
The insurance business?
It's a good, honest business, isn't it?
Oh, certainly. It's honest. It's also adventurous. It's romantic. Listen, Hildy, I can't picture you being surrounded by policies.
I can, and I like it, what's more. Besides, he forgets the office when he's with me. He doesn't treat me like an errand boy either, Walter. He treats me like a woman.
He does he? How did I treat you? Like a water buffalo?
I don't know from water buffaloes, but I know about him. He's kind and sweet and considerate. He wants a home and children.
Sounds more like a guy I ought to marry. What's his name?
Baldwin, Bruce Baldwin.
Baldwin? Baldwin? Oh, I knew a Baldwin once. Horse thief in Mississippi. Couldn't be the same fella, could it?
You're talking about the man I'm marrying tomorrow.
Tomorrow? As soon as that?
The sooner the better. Well, I finally got out what I came in to tell you. So long, Walter, and better luck next time.
I wish you everything I couldn't give you, Hildy.
Thanks.
Too bad I couldn't get to see this guy first. I'm kind of particular whom my wife marries.
Well, he's waiting in the anteroom for me now.
Say, could I meet him?
Better not, Walter. Besides, wouldn't do any good.
Not afraid, are you?
Oh, afraid? I should say not.
All right then, come on, let's see this paragon of virtue. Is he as good as you say?
Why, he's better.
Then what does he want with you?
Now you got me.
Nothing personal, just asking. At the door, Burns walks ahead, opens the door and walks out. After all, he stops as he realizes she's not there. The door opens and Hildy comes out.
You wouldn't believe this, Walter, but Bruce holds the door open for me.
No kidding. Reporters are conversing. They stop as Hildy and Burns enter the area. Hildy follows Burns through the city room. This time, in contrast to Hildy's original walk through the room, the groups are silent as they watch the two.
And he takes off his hat when he's with a lady.
For what for?
And when he walks with a lady, he waits for her.
Oh, I'm sorry. Burns at this point has reached the switchboard. He says under his breath to Maisie, "Have Duffy call me at the restaurant in 20 minutes. Hildy, a little out of breath, catches up with him. At the iron gate that opens into the anteroom, Hildy jumps ahead, opens the gate, and holds it for Burns.
Allow me.
Thanks. Hildy follows him out. Bruce is sitting on the bench. At the end of the bench sits an old grizzled Western Union boy. Ignoring Bruce, Burns strides over to the boy, seizes his hand, shakes it, and says, "I can see right away my wife picked out the right husband for herself." Hildy is... Go ahead.
There must be some mistake. I'm already married.
Already married? Hildy, why didn't you tell me? Congratulations again, Mr. Baldwin.
But my name...
Mr. Burns.
You'll have to excuse me. I'm busy with Mr. Bruce Baldwin here. Just leave your card with the boy. Bruce takes hold of Burns' coat and shakes it to get attention. Burns turns on him.
Mr. Burns.
I'm very sorry, but I'm busy. Look, there's the boy. Take your card and leave it with him. He turns away again. Bruce determinedly takes hold of his sleeve and pulls at it.
Mr. Burns.
I just told you I was busy with Mr. Bruce Baldwin.
I'm Bruce Baldwin.
You're Bruce Baldwin?
Yes.
Then who are you?
My name's Pete Davis.
Pete Davis? Well, Mr. Davis, this is no concern of yours, and after this, I'll thank you to keep out of my affairs. The messenger isn't quite sure what he's done, but he slinks back to his seat as Burns turns to Bruce. Hildy is beginning to get sore, but reluctantly, she's compelled to smile at Walter's behavior. This is a pleasure, Mr. Baldwin. I'm sorry about the mistake. Oh, I thought there was something funny. You see, Bruce, you don't mind if I call you Bruce, do you? After all, we're practically related. Bruce, completely unnerved by this time. You see, my wife, your wife, Hildy, led me to expect that she is marrying a much older man.
Oh.
But I see she didn't mean old in years. You always carry an umbrella, Bruce?
It looked a little cloudy this morning.
That's right. Rubbers too, I hope. A man ought to be prepared for any emergency. Burns looks down. Bruce, in unconscious responses, helplessly lifts his foot up and shows the rubber. That's a boy. Come on, Bruce.
Where are we going?
Where are we going? I'm going to buy you two lunch. Didn't Hildy tell you?
No, she didn't.
Just wanted to surprise you, I guess. After you, Bruce. Come on, Hildy, my treat.
I suppose I can't call this off without creating a scene. But remember, it's your last fling.
How'd you like that? Here I am being nice to you and your sweetheart, and that's the thanks I get? Oh, sorry, after you, Hildy. Change of scene, we're now in a restaurant. Inside the restaurant, which is nothing swanky, a beaming waiter grins widely as he attends their table.
Don't tell me it's you, Hildy.
Nobody else. How's everything, Gus?
I can't complain.
Well, I can. I'm hungry. Roast beef sandwich, rare, and some coffee.
Shall I put a little rum in the coffee? It's a nasty day.
Good idea. How about you, Hildy?
Oh, I'll take the same, I guess. And coffee.
A little rum in yours too?
I guess so. No, just coffee, Gus.
Just coffee. And you, sir? Oh, I'll take the same, I guess, and a glass of milk. Milk? Yes. Milk?
And don't put any rum in it, Gus. The waiter gives him a look and walks away. Well, so you're getting married tomorrow, eh? How does it feel, Bruce?
It feels awful good. Yes, sir. We're taking a 4:00 train to Albany, and tomorrow we'll be married.
Listen, Bruce, let me get that straight. I must have misunderstood you. You mean you're taking the sleeper today and then getting married tomorrow?
Oh, well, it's not like that.
Oh, poor Walter. He'll toss and turn all night. Perhaps we better tell him Mother's coming along, too.
Mother? Why, your mother kicked the bucket.
No, my mother. My mother.
Oh, your mother. Well, of course, that relieves my mind.
It was cruel to let you suffer that way. Isn't Walter sweet? Always wanting to protect me.
Well, I admit I wasn't much of a husband. But you can always count on me, Hildy.
I don't think she'll need you very much. I aim to do most of the protecting myself.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, old man. She never looked at me the way she's looking at you.
I might have, Walter, but you were never there.
She deserves all this happiness, Bruce. All the things I couldn't give her. Yeah, all she ever wanted was a home.
Well, I'll certainly try to give her one.
I know you will, Bruce. I know you will. Where are you going to live?
Albany.
Albany, huh? Got a family up there, huh?
No, just my mother.
Just your mother. Oh, you're going to live with your mother?
Well, just for the first year.
Oh, that will be nice. Yes, a home with mother. In Albany, too. Ow! The
Mighty
ow
nice
is-
little town, Albany. Oh, sorry.
Good.
Mighty nice little town, Albany. They've got the state capitol there, you know.
Yes, I know. Hildy, will you ever forget the night you brought the governor back to your hotel room and found me taking a bath? She didn't even know I was in town. Oh.
Well, here we are.
So how's business, Bruce?
Well, Albany's a mighty good insurance town. Most people there take it pretty early in life.
Yeah, well, I can see why they would.
Ouch!
Oh, I'm sorry, Gus. My foot must have slipped.
That's all right.
I sometimes wish I'd taken out insurance. But, of course, now it doesn't matter. Still, I suppose it would have been the smart thing to do.
Well, I honestly feel that way. I figure I'm in one line of business that really helps people. Of course, we don't help you much when you're alive, but afterward, that's what counts.
I see what you mean.
Guess this.
Good coffee, isn't it?
Hildy smiles and winks back and takes another sip. Gus starts to go.
You've forgotten my milk. Oh, the milk, yes.
He leaves, shaking his head. Burns sips his coffee and lights it. He lifts his cup to Hildy. Here's luck to the bride and bridegroom.
Thank you.
He hasn't brought my milk yet. They want you on the phones, Mr. Burns.
They would. Excuse me. Burns rises, starts off, and then comes back for his cup of coffee, which he takes with him.
You know, Hildy, he's not such a bad fellow.
No, he should make some girl real happy.
Uh-huh.
Slap happy.
Oh, he's not the man for you. I can see that. But I sort of like him. Got a lot of charm.
Well, he comes by it naturally. His grandfather was a snake.
If anybody had told me I'd be sitting at lunch with him, but he swept me right off my feet.
That's what he did to me. Swept me right off my feet and left me lying on the floor.
Inside the phone booth, Burns is listening, his coffee on a ledge, and sips it now and then. Get this. Get Sweeney off that yarn and out of town on 2 weeks vacation. And right away. All right, Duffy, keep your shirt on. Hildy's coming back. No, she doesn't know it yet, but she'll be there. I promise you, Duffy. And tell Louis to stick around. I might need it. He hangs up, smiles, and finishes the coffee. He adopts an expression of being broken and worried as he returns to the table.
Your milk, sir. And I brought you another cup of coffee, Hildy.
The waiter serves her and puts still another cup in front of Burns' chair.
Thanks, Gus.
Too hot?
No, it's strong, but I like it that way.
The waiter leaves, smiling.
Say, what's happened to Burns? He looks sunk, doesn't he?
He certainly does.
Burns comes to the table looking like a 1929 banker just before jumping off a roof and sits down.
What's wrong?
Oh, it's the Earl Williams case. No one can find the governor, so no reprieve.
Just what is the lowdown on Williams?
It's simple. The poor little dope who lost his job went berserk and shot a cop who was coming after him to quieten him down.
If he's nuts, why doesn't the state just put him away?
Because it happened to be a black policeman.
The black vote happens to be very important to the mayor of this town.
Especially with an election coming up in a few days.
You sure Williams is not all there?
All you've got to do is talk to him. But the mayor would hang his own grandmother to be re-elected.
But couldn't you show the man wasn't responsible?
How?
You could run an interview. That would prove it. Remember the interview I wrote with Jimmy Wellman? That saved his life. Don't they have to get an alienist to see him first?
Sure, some guy called Egelhofer's coming in from New York, but he'll say the same as all the rest.
Suppose he does.
Well, what's the scheme, Hildy?
Look, Walter, you get the interview with Earl Williams, print Egelhofer's statement, and right alongside of it, double column, run your interview. Alienist says he's sane. Interview shows he's goofy.
Oh, Hildy, you can do it. You could save that poor devil's life. You could, but you're going away. I forgot.
How long would the interview take?
Oh, an hour for the interview, another hour to write it. That's about all.
Hildy, we could take the 6 o'clock train, Hildy, if it'd save a man's life.
No, Bruce. If you want to save Earl Williams's life, you write the interview yourself. You're still a good reporter.
Oh, Hildy, you know I can't write that kind of thing. It takes a woman's touch. It needs that heart, that...
Now, don't get poetic, Walter. Get Sweeney. He's the best man you've got on that paper for sob sister stuff.
That phone call. Sweeney's wife had twins, and he went out to celebrate and got as drunk as a lord. They can't even find it. So Sweeney has twins, and Earl Williams gets hanged tomorrow. Well, you argue with her. You argue with her. Otherwise, you're going on honeymoon with blood on your hands. How can you have any happiness after that? All through the years, you remember that a man went to the gallows because she was too selfish to wait 2 hours. I tell you, Bruce, Earl Williams' face will come between you and the train tonight and the preachers tomorrow and all the rest of your lives.
What a performance. Bravo. Don't let him fool you, Bruce. It's only an act.
What do you mean, only an act? Haven't you got any feeling?
Well, it's either an act on your part or a miracle on Sweeney's.
What do you mean?
I happen to know Sweeney was married only 3 months ago. If he's got twins this morning, I claim it was done with mirrors.
All right, Hildy, I'm late. But I'll make you and Bruce a business proposition.
Then Mr. Sweeney didn't have twins?
We're not interested.
Maybe you'll be. You're a smart young man. You persuade Hildy to do this story for me, and you can write out a nice fat insurance policy on me. What do you say?
I don't use my wife for business purposes.
Wait a minute, Bruce. We could use that money. How long would it take him to get him examined? What's commission on $100,000 policy?
Well, at his age, 20 payment life, a little over $1,000.
And what's the matter with the $1,000?
But
according to the budget we laid out, that's more than our food bill for a whole year. Listen, Bruce, I don't want Walter Burns to use me, but I'm perfectly willing to use him. How long will it take him to get examined?
I could get a company doctor in 20 minutes.
All right, Bruce. Suppose you have Mr. Burns examined over in his office and see what they'll allow on that old carcass of his. What would be his first payment on that policy?
About $2,500.
Say, I'm better than I ever was. How'd you like?
There was never anything to brag about. Now look, Bruce, I'll go back and change and dress. And after you get the check, you phone me. I'll be in the press room of the criminal courts building. Oh, Walter.
What?
Better make that a certified check, Walter.
What do you think I am, a crook?
Yes. No certified check, no story. Get me?
All right, the check will be certified. Want my fingerprints?
No, thanks. I've still got those. Well, I'll head over to the press room for the background on this yarn. It'll be kind of fun to see with the boys again, too. Remember, Bruce, it must be certified.
All right, dear.
Wait a minute, Bruce. Have you got that money?
The 500? Sure.
On second thought, would you let me have it? I'll get the tickets.
But
Believe me, Bruce, I know what I'm doing. He'd get you in a crap game.
I don't gamble, Hildy.
I know a lot of men who didn't do anything till they met Walter Burns. Please, dear.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 500. Be careful, honey.
I'll be careful, darling. You be, please.
She kisses him, kisses her hand, and pats Burns' cheeks.
So long, husbands.
She leaves, and they look after her.
I never knew Hildy to be so determined before.
You haven't seen anything yet. Curtain closes.
That is the end of our skit. We hope you really enjoyed it. You did awesome costume changes, both of you. That was really fun. And the accents, that was so great.
Good, yeah.
Really enjoyed that.
I did too. Practicing and prepping for it. I was just watching YouTube videos. It's like,
Leah, did you have that phone already? That old phone?
so I actually bought it last night.
Oh,
Oh my God.
fantastic. Oh,
I was like, okay, I need a phone, and everything's pretty costly. And then I found this for a good price.
I got
and
mine.
you guys
Yeah.
really surprised me.
I
was
love
excited.
it.
Almost
Salt and
nobody has
pepper
that kind of
pot.
stuff. That was,
Oh my God,
perfect.
that's awesome.
I was
Okay.
wondering. That's great. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Amber says that was so much fun. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming, Amber. And Hillary says fantastic. And
That was
during
great.
this, Amber said, I hear Hollywood calling. And well, I'll go, Mark. Probably during your immediate changes.
Quick costume change back and
Yeah.
forth. I want to do something really quick.
That worked out well.
So
That was really, really fun. Thank you.
It
guys.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
thank you
time.
guys so much for being here.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a blast.
And thank you, Mark, especially because Mark actually stepped in very much at the last minute when we
Wow.
were stuck. And so it was really good of him. In fact, normally you wouldn't be able to make it. Isn't that right, Mark?
Yeah,
You
I'm doing
usually have a
Masters of
class,
Publishing class that's normally on Thursdays. So
Yeah.
it's reading week. Haha. Reading, get it?
Yeah, there you go.
We got super lucky on that one with both of you. That was fantastic.
The original poster for the movie has a subtext. She learned about men from him.
That sounds like a different movie, but
It does, doesn't it? It sounds like a very different movie.
I watched the opening of the classic movie, and it was interesting. The adaptation of the movie from the original play was really fascinating to see the subtle differences that they made. That was kind of cool.
That is.
Because in the
That's
original
really
play, Hildy was a man, and they gender swapped the role for the movie. So there was no kind of like he wasn't his ex back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very different. Wow, what a
Yeah.
changes the whole story.
Mhm.
But,
Cool fact.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen the movie yet, so now it's on my to-watch list.
And
It's
then
a fun one.
may we all be so lucky as to have one of our works adapted into a film.
I know.
So we can say, wait a minute, that character wasn't this. This character was that.
Yeah. Oh no.
So how about a round robin then for everybody here tonight? So if you were going to have one of your books turned into a movie, which one would it be? Leah?
Oh, that's so difficult. Well, yeah, you could have it as a TV series, right, or as a movie. I think the one that lends itself best to a movie is my second book, Wisps of Gold, because it's a murder mystery gold rush. So there's a lot of action, and I really felt like I wrote it as if I was seeing it as a movie. So that's the one that I think would be the winner.
Cool.
I was intrigued by that title too.
Yeah.
About you, Mark?
I think my novel I, Death, which is a horror novel, and it's set in Sudbury. I think that would be a great one, just because I'd love to see them film it and have the death scene at Science North and stuff like that.
That would be
But
cool.
TV series, as Leah said, I think my Canadian Werewolf series would spin into a series quite nicely. I already got the actors picked out and everything. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
I did too, but as the years go by, they get older and then they can't.
Yeah, that's true. I know. Ryan Reynolds
really
is
sad.
getting old. He may not be able to play this character unless they adapt it soon.
You guys gotta
Yeah,
hurry.
exactly.
Come on, Hollywood, let's move.
How about you, Christie?
Well, I think probably my historical fantasy could be, but I have had a number of people or a number of readers tell me that Anatomy of a Darkened Heart, which is my first historical suspense book, novel, full-length novel, would be really good as a movie, and that they pictured it as a movie in their head. So I think that would work out really well. It's very suspenseful. It's in the Victorian era. And we watch the main character age from a child all the way through adulthood. And it's very, very tense. And I think they could do a lot with not only the costumes, which would be fun, but the lighting and using that to really like darken the mood at the right times. And, the amazing, beautiful homes that they had. I think it would be visually beautiful, but also intense, suspense wise. So that's what I would pick. How about you, Dave?
I've been told several times that the Joe Ballon series would make excellent movies. So I'd certainly go along with that. Although I must admit, one of my novellas, Three Lives of Mary, has always been a bit of a favorite of mine, mostly because the two main characters in it are kind of based somewhat loosely on myself and my wife. And so I would actually love to see that made into a movie. It's about like this this woman who's kind of like had her body replaced with a robotic body. She's still kind of human brain, but she's a robotic body, and her husband has had his body replaced by an entire spaceship. So he's like an intelligent spaceship, and they're still together and they're out exploring planets, sort of thing, and whatever. And I just think that's kind of my personal little favorite, you know. But I think it would be great.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we kind of like coming up to the end of our time. Once again, thank you to both of our guests,
Bravo.
Leah Lindeman and Mark Leslie. Thank you very much for being here. Next month we will be back again. Do we know what we're doing yet, Christie?
We are considering Jeeves and Wooster story. We haven't decided which one yet. We are looking at novels and we are looking at short stories. So what it will be, you guys will find out a little bit closer to the date.
So yes, that's what we are hoping to do for next month. And so until then, thank you all for coming. Thank you very much to everybody. I hope you stay safe and stay happy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.